تظاهرات نه به روحانی در نیویورک علیه حضور رئیس جمهور فاشیسم دینی در مجمع عمومی در سالگرد در هم شکستن لیست‌گذاری و برچسب ارتجاعی استعماری، پیروزی تاریخی مقاومت و ارتش آزادی بخش ملی.
I salute you all who have risen up in the protest to pressure the illegitimate and inhuman clerical regime president in the United States and in the United Nations. At this very moment, tens of millions of our people inside Iran hear you, your chants, their own censored and suppressed voices. They praise and command you, who declare loud and clear that the regime has stolen the Iranian people's right to popular sovereignty. None of its representatives enjoy legitimacy, and they must be expelled from international institutions. Rouhani is part of a regime whose survival is ensured only through daily executions, torture of prisoners, suppression of women, and plundering of social wealth, as well as terrorism and destruction in the region. He is competing with other major factions over his share of the power, while at the same time moving in lockstep with Khamenei when it comes to executing Iran's youth, the number of which has risen to 700 in the first half of this year, and when it comes to exporting terrorism. So we declare the international community and all leaders who have gathered at United Nations, Rouhani is not representative of Iranian people. He and his regime are murderers of Iranian people and the main cause of crisis in the whole region and Middle East. The solution to the Iranian and regional question lies in the hands of Iranian people who demand the overthrow of this regime and the establishment of freedom and democracy.
Change! Regime change in Iran! Change! Regime change in Iran! Change! Regime change in Iran!
on one hand, increased executions, suppression, and oppression inside the country, while on the other hand, intensifying plots against the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran and the Iranian resistance both inside and outside the country, especially against freedom fighters at Camp Liberty. The people of Syria are faced with a calamity through the clerical regime's genocide and destruction in their country. Without the regime's ceaseless support, neither would the bloodthirsty Syrian dictatorship have remained in power today, nor would our Syrian sisters and brothers have become homeless and displaced, putting themselves in danger simply to reach the shores of Europe. Allow me here to underscore this truth that depriving the mullahs from a nuclear weapon in an effective, promising, and permanent manner has only one solution, and that is regime change in Iran.
Change! Regime change in Iran! Change! Regime change in Iran! Change! Regime change in Iran! Change! Regime change in Iran!
Of appeasement, showing weakness and giving false hopes about the ruling critics, abandoning their efforts to acquire a nuclear weapon would be detrimental and constitutes a betrayal. As such, any loophole or pathway that the deceitful regime could use to manufacture a nuclear bomb must be closed. Let me summarize. If the international community, and especially UN Security Council, truly pursue peace and tranquility in the region and the world, they must first expel the illegitimate regime representative from UN, from the international institution, and recognize the right of the Iranian people and Iranian resistance to overthrow this regime and establish human rights and democracy. Second, withdraw the concessions in the nuclear deal with the regime and deprive it of all opportunities to build the bomb. Third, make trade deals and agreements with the ruling regime contingent on ending executions. And finally, compel the Iraqi government to end the inhuman siege in Liberty Prison. It is especially imperative that the United States guarantee the protection of Liberty residents on the basis of its obligation, or at least return some of their personal means of self-defense to them for minimum protection against threats posed by the terrorist Quds Force and its militias. As Masoud Rajavi, the Iranian resistance leader, said in his message, the Iranian people will not be satisfied with anything less than the overthrow of clerical regime and the establishment of freedom and popular sovereignty. The war of liberation and overthrow of reactionary Khalifa, free elections and drafting of new republic's constitution at the National Consultative Assembly are inalienable rights of the Iranian people. Hail to you all! Hail to the Iranian people! Hail to freedom! موفق باشید.
Thank you. I have spoken many, many times in this plaza, and today it is my great honor to speak out on behalf of human rights for the wonderful people of Iran who are now oppressed by the terrible leaders of Iran. Now, we are today in an appropriately named plaza, named after the great advocate of human rights, Dag Hammarskjöld. As many of you know, Dag Hammarskjöld died, perhaps was assassinated, in the effort to try to bring human rights to the world and to try to keep the United Nations as a beacon of justice and human rights. Tragically, since his death, the United Nations has turned away from that mission and has become a podium and a lectern for the most oppressive and the most reactionary forces. Today, one of the most repressive people speaks from that podium, and that is the propaganda president of Iran, Rohani. I say the propaganda president because who is he and what is he? He is a smiling face of a puppet, and the strings are being pulled by the tyrannical leadership of the Ayatollah Khamenei. Let us understand where power resides in the current regime in Iran. It does not reside with the people as it does in a democracy. It does not reside with women who are oppressed. It does not reside with people who believe in true Islam and in the peaceful nature of Islam. It resides in a group of tyrants, revolutionary tyrants they claim to be, but reactionary claimants they actually are. Let's look at Rouhani's record. Since coming to power, he has presided over the brutal execution of more innocent people than even Ahmadinejad presided over. Everybody in the world recognized the evil of Ahmadinejad, and he was replaced for that reason by the smiling face of a propaganda expert who actually presents a moderate image to the world, but it's a false moderate image. And we're here today to expose that falsehood. I wish we could have here today, as witnesses to the repressive nature of the regime, the hundreds of thousands of people who have been murdered in cold blood in the name of a reactionary and repressive philosophy. I wish we could have here today as witnesses the Baha'is who were murdered, the other Muslims who were murdered, the Christians who were murdered, the Jews who were murdered. They would be great witnesses, but the one thing that the Ahmadinejad, Rouhani, Khomeini regime specializes in is killing witnesses. They are obstructing justice, because if you are a witness to injustice, you will be imprisoned and you will be executed and you will be silenced, because the last thing this regime wants is truth. Truth is the enemy of repression. The truth will make you free, and we're here today to express that truth. Now, in addition to everything that the regime has currently done to repress, I'm here today to protest against the deal that was recently struck between the United States, the P+5, and the Iranian regime. And the deal was undemocratically enacted in the United States by a president who was in a minority. The Senate doesn't support the deal. The House doesn't support the deal. The American people don't support the deal. I don't believe the Iranian people support the deal. Certainly the people who have freedom to express themselves don't support the deal. But the president got the deal through by using a discredited maneuver called the filibuster, which prevented real debate and a real vote. Now, why did he do that? I think he did that because he realizes that what the United States is doing today amounts essentially to a crime. What is that crime? That crime, and you're all familiar with it, because we have all been accused of committing that crime falsely, but that crime is providing material support to terrorism. And what does this deal do? It provides tens of billions, perhaps hundreds of billions of dollars of material support for terrorism. Of every dollar that the Iranians will get, much of it will go to repressing dissent within Iran. The rest of it will go to encouraging terrorism around the Middle East and ultimately around the world. That is why the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense, and they're both my friends. I am not partisan here. I am a liberal Democrat who supported Obama twice, and yet I am strongly opposed to the deal from a liberal democratic perspective. The President does not tell the truth when he says the only people who oppose this deal are warmongers. I love peace. I was opposed to the war in Iraq. I am a Democrat. I am a liberal, but I am a pragmatist. I understand evil, and I understand there is evil in this world. And I understand that the current Iranian regime is evil. It is evil. And you don't make deals with evil people that give them the financial ability and the material ability to increase the evil they're doing. That becomes complicity with evil. And we, the United States, to my regret, because I'm a patriotic American, I love this country. Like many of you, my grandparents came over from a different country. We are immigrants. We're all immigrants. And immigrants have made this country. I wrote a book against the Iran deal. It's called The Case Against the Iran Deal. How can we now stop Iran from getting nukes? That is our job. That is our mission. If you think Iran is bad today, and it is, it will only get worse if they obtain nuclear weapons. This isn't a game. This is life and death. This is life and death for your relatives in Iran. This is life and death for your friends and relatives in Camp Liberty. What a terrible name for what should be called Camp Oppression, Camp Murder, Camp Destroying of Dissents. We have an obligation as Americans, and many of your speakers before you have emphasized that obligation. We owe it to the people of Camp Liberty. We are their protectors. We made a deal with them. We made a contract with them. And as a constitutional law teacher and practitioner, there is nothing more important in our Constitution than the obligation of government to keep its promises. We have failed the people of Camp Liberty. We have failed the dissidents of Iran. We have failed you. We have failed the people of the Middle East. Why, I ask you, does Iran need 24 days before inspections are permitted of new facilities? If you're innocent, you don't need 24 days. If you're trying to hide nuclear development, you need 24 days. This is a government of cheaters, a government of liars, a government of deceivers, a government of oppressors, a government of tyrants. And we will not rest until there is a change of regime, until the people of Iran, by a fair and open vote, are allowed to elect their leaders. And believe me, and you know this, the person who would come in last in any free and open election are the current leaders of Iran. And I think we know who would come in first. So we're here to promote democracy. We're here in the spirit of Dag Hammarskjöld to promote human rights. We turn our back to those in the United Nations who support tyranny, and we turn our face to you who support liberty, freedom, and democracy. May you go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me back again this year. It was a great pleasure to be with all of you last year and to be with you again this year. And I just want to focus, as the former national chairman of the Young Republicans, on the youth in Iran. And we heard from a youth group earlier. If you look at the under 30 population, it's a vast majority of the population of Iran today. And they were the forefront, the vanguard for the uprising in 2009. And we failed as a country. The United States failed in not supporting that revolution in 2009, and that is something that we cannot stand for ever again. Look at what's going on, the repression that has occurred since then. You see detentions, students being expelled from universities, a crackdown on the very fabric of life amongst the youth, in what they can wear, how their hair should be cut. You see social media being controlled by the regime. That is something that we cannot stand for, and I fear that we're going to allow it to happen again. Because when we're willing to sit down with the regime, negotiate with them on a deal, where they have shown a wantonness of destruction for their own people, for the next generation, what does that say about we're willing to tolerate in the future? That's why we must say never again to that ever. We see what's happened in Camp Liberty, where we heard from Mr. Dershowitz earlier, where the people have expected to be protected. Never again should we let it happen again. Never again. And that is why we must say no to Rouhani, no to the regime, and yes to the people of Iran, and we must be there as a country with you fighting alongside.
درود بر شما هموطنان عزیز و مبارز در داخل و در خارج کشور. درود بر قهرمانان دلیر مقاومت در لیبرتی و درود بر زندانیان سیاسی در سراسر ایران. سال گذشته همینجا اعلام کردیم که دعوت کردن از روحانی نماینده خلیفه ارتجاع و بنیادگرایی برای شرکت در سازمان ملل باعث تشویق سرکوب و اعدام‌های بیشتر در داخل کشور می شود. به خاطر منافع اقتصادی گوش نکردند. به سیاست مماشات با این عامل بنیادگرایی و تروریسم که یک تهدید جهانی است ادامه دادند. نتیجه این که در داخل ایران طی یک سال گذشته 1000 نفر دیگر اعدام شدند. کارنامه 2 سال روحانی شامل 2000 اعدام سیاسی است. باید از روحانی سوال کرد دلیل بازداشت شکنجه و صدور حکم اعدام برای محمد علی طاهری بنیانگذار عرفان کیهانی در ایران چیست؟ آقای طاهری 46 روزه است که در اعتراض به حکم ناعادلانه اعدام در اعتصاب غذاست. ما خواستار آزادی تمام زندانیان سیاسی و همه کسانی که به جرم دگراندیشی در زندان به سر میبرند هستیم. از جانب شما هموطنان که از راه‌های دور اینجا حاضر شده اید تا صدای خود را به جهانیان برسانید اعلام می‌کنیم مردم ایران حکومتی که به جای خدمت از آنها دزدی می‌کند نمی‌خواهند. مردم ایران حکومتی که سرمایه‌های کشور را سرقت می‌کنند نمی‌خواهند. مردم ایران حکومتی که فرزندانشان را به بیکاری، فقر و فحشا کشانده است نمی‌خواهند. متاسفانه کارنامه جنایت رژیم طی 3 دهه حکومت استبدادی ادامه داشته است. ما درخواست می‌کنیم که پرونده نقض حقوق بشر رژیم ملایان باید به دادگاه بین المللی ارجاع داده شود و عاملان آن باید به میز عدالت کشیده شوند. ما خواستار تغییر رژیم دیکتاتوری و تمامیت نظام بنیادگرای ملایان هستیم. چند کلامی اما بسیار مهم در رابطه با وضعیت رزمندگان لیبرتی. در حالی که دولت عراق از دادن ویزا برای بازدید خانواده‌های کمپ لیبرتی که بسیاری از آنها هم همینجا حضور دارند خودداری می‌کند، مزدوران وزارت اطلاعات تحت عنوان خانواده از ایران به مقابل کمپ لیبرتی ارسال شدند تا زمینه‌ساز حملات بعدی علیه ساکنین کمپ لیبرتی باشند. ما خواستار توقف شدن این توطئه ها علیه ساکنین کمپ لیبرتی هستیم.
My name is Miriam Mirzai, and I am a senior at the University of Georgia, currently working towards my bachelor's in business administration. I would like to open up a discussion with a few of my fellow youth members on important issues of women in Iran today. At first, I would like to have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Sadaf. Hi, my name is Sadaf Mirzai. I attend Georgia State University, and I'm working towards my undergrad in international business and finance as a co-major.
Hi, my name is Donia. I'm 20 years old, and I attend Shenandoah University in Virginia, and I'm a political science student.
Hi, my name is Sepida. I currently attend Georgia State University, and I am studying towards a biology. Thank you.
My name is Delaram Ahmadi. I am 22 years old. I just graduated from the University of California, Riverside with a bachelor's in political science and Middle Eastern studies.
I would like to pose a few questions today to my fellow members. First, I would like to ask Sadaf, if you can pick one message to the youth of Iran, what would you say?
Hello, youth of Iran. I hope you can hear me from all the way in New York. If I had one message for you, it would be to stick in there, because we are doing our best in the United States to fight this fight, but I need you to keep the fire alive in Iran. We might be oceans apart, but we stand together here in this fight. Thank you.
Next, I would like to ask Donya, what are your opinions on the current status of the youth and women in Iran?
The situation of youth, especially women, has been terrible under the Mullah's regime. But it must be mentioned that since Rouhani came into power, the regime has even further increased its suppression against the Iranian youth. 27-year-old Rayhana Jabbari was executed in October 2014 for defending herself. Just a week ago in Mashhad, the regime executed a 19-year-old boy. We have seen people like Atena Farghadani imprisoned for simply drawing cartoons. Many other youth have also been arrested just for simply using Facebook, Twitter, and other different social media websites. And in yet another inhumane crime, the regime is also depriving medical treatment for ill prisoners, such as Zainab Jalodian and Atena Daimi. To the youth in Iran, you deserve a government that will protect your rights and will uphold human rights. I must say that the Iranian youth should be so proud to have a resistance movement. With this resistance movement, with the guidance of Ms. Maryam Rajavi and the PMOI, know that our future is going to be bright. Know that freedom is near. We, the Iranian American youth here in the United States, we stand with the youth of Iran. We will continue to be your voice. I would end with a quote from Ms. Maryam Rajavi's I Have a Dream speech. I have a dream, an Iran free of execution and torture. I yearn to see a country where cranes shall be used for construction and not for destruction of human life. I have a dream, a free and democratic Iran, a country where all the citizens shall enjoy the right to freedom, the right to life, and the right to security. Thank you.
Next, I would like to pose a question to Sepide. Why are you attending this event today?
I am here today to represent the hundreds of thousands of young women who do not have the freedom of speech in Iran. I am here for the women who are imprisoned because they want to stand on their own 2 feet or because they simply want freedom in Iran. I am here because I do not support the barbaric regime in Iran. I, along with everyone standing here today, are here to tell the people of Iran that we will not stop until there is a free Iran.
Lastly, I would like to pose the question to Delaram. What are your feelings towards Rouhani and his current presidency?
I think that Rouhani and the Iranian regime, with their bloody hands, do not have a space in the United Nations. They are the source of terror in Iran as well as the region. Rouhani and his regime are not a legitimate representation of the Iranian women or youth.
I would like to thank all the participants and hope that you have found insight in what they have shared with us today. Thank you.